with Drew. Drew is, or has been, a person I've been in contact for, I think, 15 years.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. He's had a few different hats worn, always in the sports, nutrition sort of area. But he's landed with a company now that is partly his company. We launched products probably 6 months ago called Nipro, and we're starting to get a good market hold. We're starting to export to a few countries. It piqued our interest for two reasons. It was totally allergen free. Nutritionals almost matched WPI, but a little bit better with the arginine. FODMAP friendly. It had all of the ticks on it that people are loving at the moment. And we also had a concern that the Whey and WPI market over the next 2 to 5 years were going to get insane, and our average consumer would almost be priced out of the market. So we see this as a great alternative, and I think we were one of the first companies to take a chance on launching it.
I think you would be first to actually bring it to market. You were the first one.
Yeah. So
globally.
Well, always happy to take a risk, and after you presented the product, we were excited to launch the product. But I think for the consumers and the audience, it'd be great if you could explain a little bit about it.
Sure. Well, thank you, Troy. And it's awesome to be here. I'm from Australia, originally from Melbourne. If I don't live in Australia presently, but if I ever lived in Australia, it certainly would be Melbourne. No offense, Melbourne, but Brisbane and Queensland and the Gold Coast, my Lord, it's amazing. We stayed at Hope Island, my wife and I, because it was somewhat close for us. So I'm happy to be here, and you guys have just done a killer job. The marketing, the packaging, the flavor, as I was explaining earlier, and thank you, Claudia, for behind there, sending us samples, because we are using it in a lot of trade shows. This particular one, and there's a lot of brands now using Nipro. We like to say Nipro is the Intel inside for protein, because people like the Intel inside, you guys know what I'm talking about. But we're the brand within the brand. We're a brand and ingredient, we're not a commodity, because we do a lot of scientific research. In here, we've got the scientific white paper for Nipro, and another little catchphrase we like to say is we're forged by nature and backed by science. With our scientific team, the researchers, Dr. Seiji Oaji, our Chief Science Officer, Dr. Reed Reel, our Performance Nutrition Director, and Dr. Johan, our lab monkey, but more than lab monkey, he's a chemical engineer specializing in protein. We really like to bring a protein to market that ticks a lot of boxes and satisfies a lot of consumers.
Yeah, definitely. So, look, I suppose we can cover it here. There's a lot of people talking about protein prices at the moment. Definitely, we don't see especially the WPI market, that the price will be coming down in the next 2 to 5 years. There's a few things going on there. There's some medications out where people are preferentially using 3 to 5 serves of WPI a day that have never used WPI before. There's also a lot of extra volume being used by the general public as you walk into a supermarket at the moment, probably anywhere in the world, notices every snack food has added protein now. So obviously
everywhere, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That takes a large volume. The use from sports nutrition over the last couple of years has gone up about 40% year on year. So it's just become a bit of a crunch. And to build new factories, a lot of suppliers could, it's not that they're not getting enough milk, but it probably takes 1 year to build the factory, 1 year to do all of the commissioning, get all the licenses, and start to produce your first batch. So it's probably a 3 to 5 year project to get new factories going. 3 new ones in America have just launched for WPC, but that volume has already been totally swallowed up by snack foods.
Correct.
A lot of companies are reluctant to start building new factories to fix our problem in 5 years' time, because they're worried that this is a little bit of a bubble and the price will start to fall in 3 years, and they will have just invested millions, if not billions of dollars into new factories.
Correct.
So there's that little bit of a fear, and there's also the fear that new products like Nipro will come out fill a big hole in the market, being totally allergen-free and everything, people will start to turn onto those products.
Protein for everybody.
Protein for everybody. And that will fill somewhat the hole that's been created. And therefore, once again, their factories won't be as viable as they hoped.
Absolutely. I've heard as well, Troy, cheese consumption is down and not equaling that of whey protein, and that's also a bit of a problem.
It is, yep. And if you're looking at a litre of milk, for every business, they're hoping to either sell that as whole milk powder, you know, they're obviously hoping to use as many aspects of each litre of milk as they can.
Absolutely.
And if you're making whey hand over fist and you can't get rid of the cheese, it becomes a huge problem.
Correct. So in America, cheese consumption is down to some degree. I think maybe it's the fat component. People are on diets more. People are wanting the whey protein, they're not wanting the cheese. It's so funny that whey protein was the byproduct and it became fertilizer, then animal feed, and then eventually human nutrition. But it was the byproduct, it was the rubbish product. And now it's the cheese people are almost wanting to throw away, and it's the whey protein that people are wanting to use, and the price is just through the roof.
And look, you know, as I said earlier, you know, Nipro does match WPI in every reason you're eating it. I don't know how many people are eating WPI just because it's dairy. Because just so we're clear, if you're eating a WPC or you know, something with more of the natural fats and things left in it, then you got more CLA and all of the properties that you want in that milk. When you're eating WPI, you are eating it purely because it digests quick and it's high protein. Because it's so,
and leucine content.
And leucine, yeah. Because it's so filtered. Any of the other properties that you would have milk for have been filtered out.
Correct.
So, you know, in my mind, if we can have an alternative that ticks every box that it should for athletes and is still cost effective.
Yeah, man, I agree. Well, thanks, Troy, on that as well. The reason we begun Nipro, well, there's a few reasons, and I'll give you a little bit of the genesis of Nipro and everything. I'm originally from Australia, but been in sports nutrition for 30 years. I started, that's in the industry and working, but before that, you know, like Troy, lifting weights and pumping protein shakes, well before international protein was on the market and half decent, good quality Australian proteins, you know, Musashi and some of the other ones prior, where you'd be drinking them, it would taste bad. You'd need an electric blender to blend it together, and you'd be farting all day because it didn't digest very well. I mean, this is back in the day when I was 12 years old. But I've always loved this industry. And a problem I had, and I've recently been sharing this, but about 11 years ago, I suffered from an autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and I had a lot of joint problems throughout my body. And with that, and going to rheumatologists and all of these, I've discussed this with Brandon earlier, going to rheumatologists and doctors and experts, and, you know, they'd say, you know, pop another ibuprofen and this painkiller and, you know, go out. And that only made me worse and sicker. You know, I'd have to take more ibuprofen to sleep and to walk and everything like that. And the reason I was getting worse is because it was destroying my gut health even more. So one of the reasons that we brought out Nipro is to create a more gut-friendly protein, something because everyone is allergic. Now, there's two different things when it comes to whey protein or dairy protein, and people get confused. They think the lactose is the allergen. No, an allergen can be from the dairy, and lactose intolerance is a separate thing. Now, some people can have an allergy to dairy and be lactose intolerant, but they are two different things. But the dairy itself, to many, and I know Brandon behind the camera there, and more consumers, they may not be extremely lactose intolerant. You know, some people may be running to the bathroom after drinking a little bit of milk in their latte. That's an extreme. But there are more and more consumers that may not be extreme, but they do have a lactose intolerance or a dairy allergen. But they're still drinking whey protein because, well, up until Nipro, what are they going to drink? Pea protein? I mean, tastes like dirt. Rice protein by itself, non-purified and non-hydrolyzed version, it's not going to tick the boxes. It's not going to be equal to that of whey protein. And what is a whey protein? It's something that is low in calories, low in sugar and low in lactose, but still has lactose, but very, very high in essential amino acids, particularly leucine. What is a good protein? You know, and what makes a good whey protein? I think there's a lot of areas to define. For a normal consumer, what is a good whey protein, or what is a good protein in general, is something that can taste good, because they don't even know what leucine is. A lot of consumers, the king of amino acids. Does it taste good? And it doesn't, you know, hurt my stomach. I mean, I think that's, from a general consumer point of view, that's important. And Nipro, especially with Troy's magic, with his flavoring and his team, Nipro tastes amazing. And I know that myself, not just in Australia, but from Japan to South Africa to Europe, the UK, US, Canada, Mexico, that we've sent this particular version of Nipro, Troy's version, International Protein, it tastes amazing. Now, if it tastes amazing, I would say, therefore, it's dairy friendly. If dairy consumers can taste it, and they're not going to taste a pea or a rice or that sandy effect, then therefore it's dairy friendly.
Yeah, definitely. You know, that's the feedback we have, and you know, we want to be careful in the way that we present things. There's many different products on the market, and you know, some people have brands and they represent them in the marketplace and say this is exactly like dairy. What we're saying is it tastes amazing. It ticks all of the boxes that your amino acids that you get out of dairy will tick. It has a not overly thick, but a slightly thicker texture that helps carry the flavour. So that's half of what you get the better flavour. It sits in your mouth for a little bit longer.
Yes.
So it's not as thick as some of the American thickened whey proteins, but then it's not as thin as an unthickened protein either. So, you know, but we find most consumers, after eating it, are happy to buy a second tub and are happy with the purchase and are surprised at the flavouring. A few people get turned off purely from reading the label, because we have a totally declared label, because they see that there's rice and pea proteins and that is based, but they don't understand the processing that's gone into them to make them more palatable. And I suppose years ago, if people had seen the whiteboard before we even launched International Protein, come up with the name or anything, we were looking at formulas and we were looking at different catch cries. You know, we had food for growth.
Oh, nice.
Because not only growth is in muscle growth, but that was a focus for us back then. We were all involved in bodybuilding and weight training. But you know, whether it's your personal growth, you want to recover better today to run a marathon, you recover better today so you can run longer tomorrow. You're on a fitness journey, a weight loss journey. It's all forms of growth, personal or physical. But one of the biggest things we had on there on our first marketing was it tastes good, not good for protein.
It tastes good, not good for protein.
Because back then, as you said, there were many brands, or not so many brands, there were only about 7 brands on the market in Australia, funny enough. But even if they made them taste good, the aftertaste of them was almost, you know, like a little bit like battery acid burning your throat, very raw amino acid taste.
Yeah.
So,
and you just bloat, especially those old school Australian brands, man.
So a lot of the presentation when people are doing taste testings or letting you taste it in a shop, try it before you buy it, were this tastes good for protein. And that was a fair enough comment.
The bar's not very high, in other words.
We didn't want people to say, this tastes good for protein. We just wanted them to stop at, this tastes good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we figured if it tastes good, they're reaching their goals and they're happy to have 2 to 3 serves a day. That's awesome for the company, and it gets them closer to where they want to go. If they have 1 or 2 serves and go, this is nearly unpalatable, we don't win as a company either.
Correct.
You know, so, you know, we were one of, back in those days.
How long ago, mate?
Oh, it would have been 26 years ago.
26 years ago. Wow.
So, wow. You know, back in the day too, a lot of people had biochemists developing their formulations, not food scientists. And it's not that a biochemist can't come up with the world's greatest formulation. Get on the whiteboard, you know, you probably yawn after 2.5 hours of the explanation of how the osmotic flow that goes. But, you know, unfortunately, they're not always looking, or they don't have that education background of how to flavour it, how to texture it. They're looking purely at a nutritional sort of outcome.
It's a different angle.
Once you start working with a lot of food scientists, then you're looking at a nutritional outcome and the palatability of the food. And we've seen that as a whole in the market. And part of the reason we launched, because back in those days, you know, bodybuilders had only started to use sports nutrition when it comes to protein powders. You know, and the main turn off for everybody was just the palatability.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually explaining to my wife, who wasn't so familiar with your history, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've kind of explained it then, but I was explaining your history. And when I was younger and a bodybuilder in Australia, it was, you know, take a local Australian brand, get extremely bloated, hate the taste of it, but you'd still drink it because you're a bodybuilder and you had to drink it, even though you'd be going on dates and, you know, your dates wouldn't like you very much. And then the American brands started coming in, like I was using AST, if you remember the AST guys, because it was hydrolyzed isolate, and I'm like, it digests well and it tastes amazing, and a few other brands. But back then it was pretty much no Australian brands tasted good and had that sensory element. And then I do remember when you guys came out, and I think the name was very interesting as well, because I thought, because I didn't know you and I didn't know the history, I'm like, international protein, and it must be an international brand. Was that, actually, I wanted to ask you, how did the name International Protein come about?
The name actually came about because we had a friend, and back then the other half owner, Christine of International Protein, she's a food scientist. She was working for Uncle Toby's, and she used to just get bags of whey from Fonterra, flavour them up, add extra glutamine, add extra arginine, make the ratio of what she thought was a great protein, and then, not even for any cost, Fonterra used to give her the bag. Oh. She used to tub it up, and you know, there used to be a group of us that she'd say, there's a 3 kilo tub, there's a 3 kilo tub, and you know, then we'd just keep on rotating that. And we had a friend who left Australia and shifted to Thailand, and he was involved in a gym over there, and back in those days, because of the Thai regulations, you weren't allowed to import anything through the border that had sucralose or artificial sweetener in it. Oh. So if we wanted to make a sports supplement, because that was a hole in the Thai market, we had to make it with cane sugar. Oh. And nobody wanted a sports supplement with 25% cane sugar. No. It just didn't sell. So we found a company in Thailand that could make it in Thailand, because as long as it wasn't imported, you could add the sucralose. So,
that's a weird rule.
Yeah, it was just back in when they were setting up health departments and things like that. They weren't as developed as they are now. Uh-huh. Yeah, and so we come up with the formulas. We come up with 3 flavors. We were going to launch. We'd even printed the labels in Australia, and we're going to ship them over there. And then the guy who was going to be half in the business actually got a job offer to go to China and run one of the big gym chains that opened there. And pretty much 2 weeks before we're going to ship the labels over, he rang up and said, I have to go to China. It's a 6-figure offer. I can't not do this on a chance that I'm going to be selling protein out of the back of a tuk-tuk running around Thailand. So we sat there for a few weeks and thought, oh, geez, we put a lot of work into this. We really liked the concepts. We had the formulas. And then we spoke to a few shops and said, come up with this brand idea and that. And they said, if you launch it, we'll back you. They gave us the confidence to launch. Most of them didn't back us for 5 years. Other shops did, but at least they gave us the confidence. But that's where the name International Protein come from, because originally we weren't even going to launch it originally in Australia. Oh. We were going to launch it in Thailand. So it was going to be an international brand for us. So that's where the name come from.
Oh, interesting. Did you know that story, Brandon? Did you know that story, Claudia? Good, I'll tell my wife after this. Yeah. When we got it on video, that's the genesis story of internet. And 26 years ago, mate.
26 years
Bloody
ago.
hell. You are the OG, I was saying to my wife, because she hasn't met you before, and we were driving up, and you're the OG in this industry. You put the Australian brands, no offense, Musashi and Aussie bodies, no offense, but you put the quality in Australian brands, and I think paved the way for other Australian brands.
Yeah, well, there were definitely brands coming up probably...
But later?
No, I think Nick might have actually been a year or 2 before us.
Oh, really?
But Nick got a good little footprint, but didn't quite get to the volume size that we did. But there was a few brands out there that haven't lasted, unfortunately. So there was Bloody Ripped and a couple of other brands that were probably a couple of years before us. But once again, they just hadn't nailed their quality. Yeah. And I shouldn't say their quality. They hadn't nailed their sort of formulas or their flavouring. We nailed it. Also, what we did very early on, we outgrew our contract manufacturer.
Oh, okay.
And said, how do we do this? And back then there weren't a lot of protein manufacturers.
Yeah.
So either you were capped out doing Musashi bars and stuff and you didn't want our little brand.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't even fit our size brand in because you already were too small for our brand.
Got you.
We decided to take the step and take that under our own control. So obviously launching...
And that's how this was born.
So obviously launching the manufacturing, definitely when it comes to being the face of the brand, I try not to be. I believe a brand should be a brand without the owner. You don't know. Yeah, well, you probably do, but you don't really need to know who owns KFC.
Colonel Sanders, no?
Pepsi Max, Coca-Cola.
Isn't it BlackRock, actually?
Yeah, that's it. So you know what I mean? Very, very early on, I seen brands that were hugely successful that I was competing against, but they were only successful because of the owner's pure personality.
Yeah.
And I tried to make the brand substantial enough that my reps on the road, the office staff, and everybody else are actually the face of the brand. So, my idea was 25 years ago, after 5 years, I'd go overseas, relax on the beach and enjoy my life. But that's just not the way these things ever turn out. So
sounds like my story in China. I decided 21 years I've been living in China, 21 years now, a lot longer. Well, it'll be 21 years this year, but the idea was to go over, make a few $1 million doing export of not actually sports nutrition. I fell into sports nutrition. We're doing export of surround sound theatre systems, which I did that, and then make a lot of money and come back, certainly not live in Melbourne, live in Queensland on a beach somewhere and retire.
And that's sort of where I'm at the moment, I suppose, in my career progression, and that if you spoke to a lot of suppliers, a lot of worldwide multinational suppliers, they would know who I am personally. They've met me in China and overseas and come here to visit me. If you spoke to 99% of shops in Australia, they'd be like, we don't know who Troy is anymore. 15 years ago, they would have known me because I was my own sales rep. So I was doing all of the calls.
All the calls.
In fact, if it was in Brisbane or Gold Coast, I'd do all my own deliveries in the ute, range it in the shop, all of those sort of things. But definitely, we're just over the 100 employees now.
Wow. So, for International Protein in Life, not including Prestige?
No, including the manufacturing and and IP. We run across 3 sites.
3 sites, because you just bought the Rubicon guys.
We did.
Yeah, nice, man.
Yeah. So we bought that. We're mainly doing amino acids, non-allergens, pre-trainers.
Got you.
All of those sort of things there. We're going to put a TGA license on it probably by Christmas this year.
Oh, nice, man.
So then we're going to do still powders, not capsules and pills, but we'll be doing all your weird.
Because they were mostly doing pre-workout. Because I met John 18 months ago, just the day before I met you, 18 months ago.
And then obviously at the site where we met today, that's where we do all the protein powders, and here we do all the storage and that. So.
And you guys are the biggest from the Prestige blend. The International Protein is your baby, you and Christine's baby, and then but you've got the manufacturing side, Prestige Blending. Yep.
So look, Prestige Blending, it's hard to tell. From when we started, I've been never one of those people that look at anybody else's business. So, I remember about 5 years in, I'd get approached by somebody and they'd say, where do you sit in the marketplace? And I used to make the joke, and it was crude joke. As long as I count my money with a rate at the end of the day, I don't care what I so look, there's a few big guys around.
So that's the money counter, but it's with a rake.
So there's a few big guys around like Custom Blending and that.
I met them yesterday. Mick Lee, he says hello, by the way. Bloody nice guy. I met him at a trade show, Supply Side West 18 months ago, a year ago or something. But very, very nice guy. And he says hello.
So when it becomes to, let's say, sports-specific supplements, I would say my feeling is we would have to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest. But when it comes to some other guys, they do a lot of supermarket chain supply and things like that. Total volume, they would be up there with us, maybe beat us, but margin maybe a little bit, as you understand. In Australia, the only people making money out of supplying supermarkets are supermarkets.
Yeah, man, especially during COVID.
So
crazy, man.
We try not to get into that commodity feed where you're making 80 tonne to earn $1,000. We try to stick in it where we're working hard, we're earning okay money, we're feeding our kids, and everybody we make product for can feed their kids too. We try to sit in that happy little land, much the same as what your brand does.
Absolutely. Well, let me, because we've got 5, let me explain a little bit about the technology, because, yesterday I had some meetings as well, and there's a little bit of a misunderstanding of what Nipro is. And again, some people turn the label around and it's pea and rice. It must be cheap and must taste bad. What people don't understand, and I like to use this analogy, is, I'll ask the audience at the end there, what is a diamond made from? And Troy, what is a diamond made from?
Well, we're told coal, but now I'm seeing on social media it might not be coal.
But coal, it's the raw material.
Coal and so on, yeah.
Correct. So a diamond is made from coal, and a diamond is extremely valuable, very pure, very pristine, beautiful. If you could eat it, it would taste good, you know? But it's from coal originally. The raw material input is coal, right? No different than Nipro. Nipro's raw material input is rice and pea, transparently on the label. We have to be, we're a transparent company. Rice, pea, and EAA. That is the raw material input. But we manufacture it twice. This is remanufactured, re-engineered protein. We go through a 3-step process. The first part of Nipro, we get very high quality raw material inputs, the rice and the pea and the EAA. What's called a wet blend process. This is not a dry blend. Troy, you can make a dry blend, sell it to the public, and it'll be a lot cheaper than this. Not that, I mean, we're extremely high price, we're a very good, even price point, as you know with Nipro, that's one of our selling points, but you can do it a lot cheaper in a dry blend mix. And to the meetings I had yesterday, by all means, try a dry blend mix. But with a dry blend mix, it won't taste the same, it won't digest the same, it won't have the same amino profile of the digestibility because of this 3-step process. And this is a patented process, technology that we've been working on for now 6 years with our leading PhD teams, one of them Dr. Johan Thundervogt, the Swedish Vikings from Sweden, from the Lund University. Lund University is well known to be the experts in protein globally for alternative proteins, and he has a chemical engineer. We have a lot of other PhDs, including Dr. Seiji Aowaji. Dr. Seiji Aowaji, our Chief Science Officer, based in our Tokyo office, is world-renowned, but actually in Japan, the most celebrated and most recognized sports nutritionist. So with the development of this technology, it's allowed us to create a protein unlike any other protein on the planet. And we like to say the 3rd category of protein. So the first step is the purification step in the wet blend process. We reconstitute the 3 ingredients into a wet blend. We treat them separately. The problem with rice is it's insoluble. The problem with rice, it has that sandy grayness. The problem with rice, it's very, very indigestible. It doesn't digest very well. So we treat the rice separately, allowing it to break down and to be very smooth in the palate and a much higher digestibility and 100% soluble in solution when it shakes up. This is purely instantized whey protein. You don't need a blender. A couple of shakes with a spoon, it mixes. The pea, what's the problem with pea protein? It tastes bad, it smells bad. So we treat the pea separately and we remove a lot of that taste and odor and smells. That is the first step, the purification process. The second step, where the real magic happens, is the advanced precision hydrolyzation, the AHP. And with the advanced precision hydrolyzation, you understand what hydrolyzation is, mate, right? But we use a multitude of protease enzymes to help break down the protein closer to a peptide. When it's closer to a peptide, what are you getting? You're going to get a higher digestibility, but also a smoother protein because they're smaller particle sizes. And that's the advanced precision hydrolyzation. This is truly a hydrolyzed protein. But when I say advanced precision, and precision meaning is we've created something that improves the digestibility, increases the disbursement, but doesn't have too much of that bitter aftertaste that some of the hydrolyzation proteins. So we've created this precision where you're getting the benefits of all the hydrolyzed without that sensory overload. Now, there is a little bit in the raw material, a little bit of that hydrolyzation taste, but not severe. And with magic like Troy, no worries on the flavoring and taste. The last step, very, very critical, is what we define, and part of our patented process, is the molecular protein infusion, the MPI technology, the 3rd and last step before the spray drying. Because this is a wet blend process. This is wet blend manufacturing, remanufactured twice. This is not a dry blend. So the MPI, and again, when we're using the rice, pea, and the EAA, this is where everything folds onto each other. Because in a wet blend process, there's heat. It goes up to around 85 degrees. We're also, with the pH adjustments and the enzymatic therapy, the protein particles are very open and very susceptible to be able to be folded into each other. So, I mean, this is raw material right here, and you will not see any white specks of EAAs. When you shake it, you're not going to have separated proteins. This is one protein. This is not a dry blend mix in 3 different components. This becomes one protein and becomes Nipro. So that is the big difference. I mean, when people are going, one of the meetings I had yesterday, I won't put it on accent, I'll get myself in trouble. But anyway, just because what it's made from doesn't mean what it's become. No different than a diamond. A diamond is originally from coal or carbon, and through great pressure, millions of years, or industrial made diamonds, through technology, it becomes a diamond. Nipro is no different. Through our remanufacturing, our re-engineered process, it no longer resembles rice and pea. It resembles something not identical to whey protein, but very, very close. And as Troy was saying earlier, it ticks all the boxes. It tastes amazing. It has equal leucine content to a WPI. It has actually 4 times more L-arginine. And L-arginine is a very interesting amino acid. It's not an essential amino acid, but it's a conditionally essential amino acid. And for those on GLP-1 that are needing that ability to retain muscle and not lose muscle, that are on GLP-1, and for gut health, L-arginine becomes an essential amino acid. So L-arginine, it's 4 times more natural occurring. We don't put free-form amino acid L-arginine in there. This is natural occurring L-arginine. So it's just, I would say it's not identical to WPI in taste, but it is very pleasant and very tastes amazing. A little bit more viscous. Why is it a little bit more viscous? Because of the fiber and the starch element. Now, fiber and starch is healthy, okay? But it's also 100% sugar-free. Why is it 100% sugar-free? Because there's no lactose. Lactose is a sugar. So it's lactose-free, sugar-free, GMO-free, bloat-free. We have as an ingredient been certified by some folks in Melbourne to be FODMAP certified. We like to use that to be bloat-free, but those in IBS.
We're getting that on this range as well, I think.
Oh, you're talking to Sarah?
No, well, I think we've already sent out all the testing. It passed all the testing, and we should have the FODMAP up for our marketing.
Great.
When we reprint the labels, we'll add it to the label, but on top of that, we also did a HACCP testing on it.
Yeah, I know you got that.
Obviously, whilst there's not a huge problem with products in Australia making anybody fail a drug test, just for anybody that does have that concern, every batch we actually, before we release it, we get it HACCP tested, and we'll have up on their website our batch number and that, and you can actually go there and verify that they have tested a product and obviously use it with safety, and then we know we can trust you as well, Drew.
Yeah, exactly, man. And vice versa with the international Nipro. So you guys have done a great job. Last but not least, I'd like to point out, we do a lot of third-party testing, third-party research with Nipro as well. One of our catchphrases I was saying earlier is forged by nature and backed by science. And the gentleman in charge of that is Dr. Seiji Elagi, based in our Tokyo office. And we do and we've got a lot more studies coming out. But one of them, and again, I showed it earlier, but it was the DIAS, the Digestible Indispensable Amino Acid Score, DIAS. And this is a way to truly measure protein quality. And, to the average consumer, again, they're looking for just, does it taste good and does it have much protein? But I think if you're really wanting to be a protein nerd like Troy and I, understanding the protein quality absolutely matters. But if you're looking at the DIAS method and going into soy is 91, WPC is 97, WPI is 109 on average. Of course, every little batch is different, but generally speaking, and Nipro is 116. And we worked really hard for that number. And we got it with Spanish University, or at CL in Spain, using the InfoGest method, non-animal study, in vitro method. The reason we got that is, again, to prove the quality of the product. And the reason we've hit that is 2 reasons. One, the input. We're using a multitude of different raw ingredients, the pea, rice, and the EAAs, but also increasing the digestibility with the hydrolyzation, the pre-digested, and creating things closer to a peptide. So measuring Nipro against a WPI, it's not a WPI. It's not identical to WPI. We're not a WPI replacer. We are, though, a new protein for the industry, a protein for everybody. As I like to say, you've probably heard this phrase before, Troy, we're not a dairy brand, we're not a vegan brand, but we happen to be both dairy and vegan friendly. Protein for everybody.
So, and look, that's something that comes up all the time when people say, why aren't you marketing this as a plant-based protein?
Because Drew won't let me.
Well, that's probably, look, early on when we looked at bringing Nipro out, it was very clear that if we marketed it as a plant-based protein, we were only marketing to people who were looking for a plant-based protein. We were trying to take plant-based, not plant-based, dairy eaters, not dairy eaters, all out of it and say, does the attributes of this protein meet your nutritional requirements and will you try it?
Exactly.
So the reason we didn't just say plant-based protein was mainly because we didn't want to go to 0.4% of the whole market.
100%, man.
We wanted everybody to try it who's a whey-based eater, may be coming to supplements for a new time, and just try it as a protein-added product.
100%.
So they could try it. If they like it, they like it. That's
100%, man. Protein for everybody. And this was the genesis as well. We wanted to create a third category of protein, something that pleased everybody, whether they've got gut health issues, whether they've got allergen issues, or from a brand's perspective, they've got price allergen issues because the price of whey proteins is so expensive. We wanted to create something different. But I found, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind is very, very powerful. If you splash vegan all over this label, then you're only going to be selling to vegans. But this is so much more than a vegan protein. And I'll tell you a story, mate. In very, very early days when we were just starting commercially selling, because we've been working on the technology for 6 years, we've only been commercially selling for now 14 months. I mean, it took us a long time to get this out. And the first year, it was challenging at the start, but actually we ended the year on quite a decent sized volume. I'm pretty sure this year, 2026, we could be at 10 or 20x. I mean, things are blowing up we just got an order from Mexico, a container. We finally opened Japan market. We got a small order going into India. Things are starting to take off, which is really nice. But a lot of, in America, when we first went there in a trade show, we had a number of brands come and they were vegan brands. And there was one guy, very famous in the industry, I won't mention his name, but he insisted and it was a 40 metric ton order. I mean, we had 0 metric ton, we had 0 kilo orders, and obviously we raised some money, but we didn't raise a ton of cash. We're not a fermentation, BS ingredient, you know what I mean? They raised $300 million and they've got no revenue and no nothing for 20 years and they'll never make money. We raised a little bit of capital, but nothing huge. So, a 40 metric ton order, which would translate to, I don't know, $300,000. I would have loved that. And my wife loved it. You should take the order, Drew. But the company, the vegan brand, insisted on slapping all over the label, this is a superior vegan protein. Well, it is literally it is a superior vegan protein. I mean, I understand that, but we don't want to market towards the vegans. Are you a vegan, mate?
No, I'm not.
You raise cattle, right? I'm going to have one of your steaks. I am not a vegan. Absolutely not a vegan.
Just to make it clear, we have nothing against vegans or cyclists.
No. Or cyclists.
Quite often in the same.
I didn't know that. Or cyclists.
In Australia, for some reason, they're viewed about the same, even though they're not the same.
I've never heard that before. So we actually told the brand 3 times, no, you can't put on the label vegan superior protein on the front of the label, because again, then you're selling to vegans only, and you're discounting or deleting 98% of the market, because the vegan market is not that big. And the problem I had, and I may get myself in trouble here, but I'm going to call a spade, right? Most of the vegan brands, not all, most care about one thing: price. Only price. And it doesn't matter, it tastes like rubbish, because they'll put so many flavors, sweeteners, emulsifiers in the damn thing, making it a 50% or 40% actually protein per serve. Maybe it'll taste okay, but it's not actually protein. There's a certain company in Australia doing something quite similar. I won't mention names. It's inferior protein at very low amounts of protein, maybe a major allergen as well, but it's not great quality protein, So if we agreed to sell that 40 metric ton order, yes, I get a 40 metric ton order, but I might be sacrificing a potentially multi-billion-dollar business at the end because I allowed to compromise the brand integrity.
Your market.
Correct, mate. And you got it. I really appreciate you. You were the first brand to launch and you got the vision, brother. It's hard being a disruptor in this industry. It's really challenging, mate, because some people look at you like you're an idiot.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and it's always hard because in sales, and anybody watching this, who is in sales, realizes how hard you work to get that sale. And at sometimes you do have to walk away.
Yes.
I say that with export all the time. We have a massive export order. The guy haggles the price until you're not even covering the wages to put the order. It is nearly impossible to close that order down and say it just doesn't make business sense anymore because you've worked so hard to get it, and you start telling yourself the best lies you'll ever hear because you told yourself that lie. But it's going to grow the business. The second you put your price up, it's not going to grow the business.
This year we're going to be doubling down on partnering with brands like yours and more support, more things, and actually not allowing certain companies to buy from us. We really want to protect the brand positioning and allow it to be, at that premium level, which it is, and with the gut friendly, the FODMAP, you're getting the FODMAP, all of these things, because again, if you're growing a non-commodity brand, the positioning matters, and the guys at the front line, Troy, matter. I'm an ingredient, I'm the intel inside. We need great partners like Troy and Simon and others, that B2B to C, because at the end of the day, it's the relationship with the consumers that matter. But what's the messaging that the consumer's getting?
It's been the credibility behind the company we're buying from. We quite often launch and they say, to have our logo and use our products, you must use it at a set amount in a serve because that's what our research shows.
Yeah.
So totally buy into it. I love to use it myself. That's what we're going to launch. I'm going to argue with the shops that it's worth an extra $5 or $7 a tub because it's actually doing something. 6 weeks later, 5 other companies in Australia launch. I ring up the supplier and say, mate, on that packet where we'll put a 7 gram serving, they'll put a 1.2 gram serving, and they're using your logos. Can you help me out here? Oh, we'll change our business structure here in the way we're looking at it. And I'm like, but I've already launched a product.
But I always say, Troy, and I'm sure you're like this in your business, mate, if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing nobody. So, as a branded ingredient, we're going to be, moving forward actually, because we don't want to commoditize this. We want to, even for Australia, mate, we may, I don't know, I haven't got a number in my head, but it may be only 5 to 8 brands maybe, and we'll just stop. Because you know why? Because then it gives you guys, and this is just an idea, and we're putting it on video now, but because I want to protect those guys that are growing the brand, you know what I mean? So, and not commoditize it and have, 100 brands. We couldn't even sell to 100 brands, but keep the quality high, the messaging and the social media and the marketing alive, because if there's not every Joe Blow selling Nipro, then you guys will have more incentive to want to grow the brand as well. So we're partners on this.
And I think you'll find that probably one of the first things when we talked and you said I've got other brands approaching me into Australia, I was probably one of the first guys, as people who know me will know, to say sell it to them, mate, as long as they're reputable, good guys that are going to do justice by your brand. Because for me, our brand's strong enough in Australia. If 8 other companies have it, we're all marketing Nipro.
Yeah, exactly. So it becomes easier.
To learn Nipro, we've got good flavours, we've got good footprint. So I believe if they market it, good for them. Sooner or later, I might get a sale from them or they might get a sale from me. But if we all market it, people understand the whole line better.
Correct.
And once again, become the third sector.
The third category of protein, man. Yeah, that critical mass and that critical, I think it's going to be happening in the next 6 months. We're seeing that now. We have, had some, challenges, but I think there's a lot of things that's been happening recently, because I mean, even the meetings yesterday, they were just amazing. And people were like, you know, I didn't even need to do the sales pitch. They're like, I know Nipro, because I know Troy, by the way. Actually, that's what Mick Lee said. He said, my God, that international protein Nipro version is amazing. And you know, you guys have really, and thank you, brother, thank you, you know, really helped pave the way for us in the Australian market through your amazing marketing and, you know, Brandon's work, and Matt's not with you anymore, but you know, some amazing social media and marketing. And thank you to all the influencers out there. But you know, it's that critical mass and getting, you know, the more brands on there will make your job easier, our job easier, and we're a branding arena. We want to support you guys. So let me know how we can, you know, structure things together as well.
That's a good example of, you know, Brandon deals with a lot of influencers on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, we get flooded with a lot of genuinely really good requests. People who love the brand. You know, I would probably say 90% of the influencers we're working with, when we send them, either they ask for Nipro, or once we send them a tub of Nipro and say, hey, it's a new line. If you try it and you don't like it, just don't do a video. Do me a favour. If you try it and like it, please do a video.
Yeah.
It's funny how many of them come back and Nipro becomes their go-to protein.
Really?
Yeah. Right.
Wow. Well, we'll have to talk about that off camera, how we can support that more. Troy, a question, because we've had over, I don't know, the last 6 or so months, quite a few consumers contact our website in Australia, and they're particularly asking, some of them, and I know it's not a massive market, but I think it's growing. They're asking for, you know, international protein or a Nipro in Australia that doesn't have artificial sweeteners. Are you going to look at that one day? I know we've talked about that before.
Once we got to a certain size with Nipro, to be honest, the reason we launched it with sucralose, and it's the friendliest out of the artificials, if that makes sense.
We've been working with a number of flavor houses, one in Tokyo that is amazing, and some of the other non-Australian brands, we send them to them because some of the flavor houses in their country just can't quite get it, especially when they're looking for the all natural. So a couple little, and we could talk offline about this, and I've got a new flavor guide coming out.
So thanks for your time today, Drew, and thanks for coming all the way to China. Family vacation, but to visit us, of course, as well.
Absolutely.
And you know, I do see big things for us, and you know, we're hoping that we'll have a coated breakfast cereal one day.
Oh yeah, let me introduce them.
And a few other things that Drew's presented today that we're excited about. And hopefully, if everybody gets behind Nipro, we will launch more and more Nipro products.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Troy. And Troy's going to take me out to an Aussie. What are we having for lunch, mate?
Probably steak and chips with a pepper sauce.
Steak and chips with a pepper sauce. Well, thanks, man. Thanks for having me, brother.
Definitely.
Thank you.